when I hear something, I usually hear it as the melody and the bass line all together. So I hear the bass movement, hear the chord progression, and I hear the melody on top of it. So it's always two parts at once that I hear. And then from there, we'll take it and then like either expand on it or I'll change maybe the bass part or whatever. But like it comes to me in a little package. And then, sometimes I'll like have a little package and it'll sit there in my notes forever. And then I'll come up with another package and then I'll be like, oh my gosh, that'll go great with this. And then they go together.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you even like write a whole song around this one and a whole song around this one. And then neither one of them like end up being the most amazing song. And then you end up picking and pulling from them and bringing it together. So
Yeah.
it's just like, or sometimes you write that and then you go, oh, that's a great idea. And for the next 10 minutes, you sit down and you write the rest of it. And that's the song forever.
There's a visual language with so many directors. Like, a Tarantino movie, a Edgar Wright movie, they're very specific. And because of the visual language, what's nice is that for me, it's almost like there's like a backstop or like a safety net on stuff. Like if I know that I'm going for a specific style for this video and I know how to create that specific style with the types of shots that I'm doing, like most likely the video is not going to suck.
Yeah, I feel that.
It's inspired by like the masters.
So the big question is this: how are creators like us, who aren't built for the 9-to-5, for the people who put their passion before them being comfortable, how do we turn that passion into a living that pays the bills and a life that we love? That is the question. This podcast will give you the answers. My name is Noah Mittman, and welcome to Conversations with Creators.
Welcome back to Conversations with Creators. I'm your host, Noah Mittman, and joining me today is musician extraordinaire Seth Beamer. Thanks for being on, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, Noah.
Yeah, absolutely. So you singer and songwriter, correct?
Singer, songwriter. I guess, I don't know if I love always saying I am, but whenever you hear that, don't you always think like a storyteller through words or a storyteller through songs? I don't know if I like sing songs like that, but I definitely, I am a songwriter and a musician and all of those things.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. So where did that passion originate for you? What got you into guitar and storytelling?
Man, I've been a musician my whole life. I started playing violin when I was 4. Grew up doing the whole Suzuki thing, and hated music as a kid, by the way. Hated music. So if your listeners have heard me on anything else, they might have heard me say this before, but I used to like fake being sick so I didn't have to go to lessons. And dude, I just hated it. I don't know. And it wasn't until high school when I started playing with other people and playing with friends that it became right. That's when it's like, and I've taught music for years too. And that's what I always tell parents is like, no kid wants to just sit in a room and play by themselves. Like, that's not fun. So, once you start playing with other people, it starts to get fun. And then I started playing in, some ensembles and just like fun bands. And then in college, bass kind of fell into my lap. I kept playing bass, got a degree in it. Everyone needs a bass player, played in some bands through that outlet. And then, got a chance to play in some touring acts and was touring for years. And I still do a little bit of that as well. And I started this solo artist journey though about a little over a year ago now. And it's been awesome. It's been the best thing ever for me. So
that's super cool.
That's been the new experience, but playing music, I've just always had it in my blood and I've just always done it. And it's been the natural progression of life, I suppose. So yeah.
Yeah. No, you follow kind of what makes sense for you. It's cool that you found, finding the passion for it, and it sounds like having other people kind of with you with those relationships was fun, but now it sounds like you wouldn't have started if doing it solo.
No, well, there's a lot of like, with being a solo artist comes a lot of, I don't know, apprehension and just like, it's very vulnerable, man.
Yeah. 100%.
So, it's still something that I work through if I'm being honest, but, it gets easier and it's great to have that foundation of just being like playing in bands forever. And now I feel like, that's just where I'm meant to be. I love being on stage. I love being in the studio. I love recording.
You love all of it.
Just love.
You found it.
Love being in the environment. Yeah. Yeah, man.
That's great. So how has your songwriting influenced your way of kind of playing guitar? And it's got to be closely connected. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say actually my bass playing has influenced more of my guitar playing than anything.
Okay.
Because not all bass players are guitar players, not all guitar players are bass players, but they do intertwine sometimes. But the fact that I studied bass in school has turned me into a more I'm a theory guy. I love theory. I love music theory. I love using it to my advantage in my songwriting and using it in a way to guide the listener's ear, like through a song.
Yeah.
And so
just literally through science.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And it's so that's kind of how my guitar playing is inspired, is just by my bass playing, I feel like. Which is, and it's affected my time a lot too. As far as like my time. Like my music time. Yeah, you get it. Yeah.
Do you play any other instruments?
Do you play?
Those too. I dabble in guitar.
Nice, man. Have you been playing for a long time?
Let's see. Since I was when I say dabble, I mean like I pick it up every couple of months, and like I pick it up. So I pick stuff up fast. I should be playing more with how fast I pick up tabs. But
nice. Well, thank goodness, right?
So it's funny on I literally want to play more. I've put in on Saturdays like a block of time to play guitar, and if we happen to be home and not doing anything, I will. I'm gonna try and do that more. I honestly want to play more. It's really fun.
Yeah, man. Well, it's one of those things too. If you don't use it, you lose it. So
yeah. Oh yeah. I know. And then the first thing you gotta do is break through the freaking calloused fingers and stuff to get through to build those. To make it a little bit less painful.
Yeah, dude, when I was in college, I was playing a lot of upright too, and those strings are thick, and my fingers would just be chipping. They'd be chipping away, and I used to just get these crazy looking fingers, and they're not so calloused anymore. The guitar is a little bit more forgiving, but yeah.
No, but I have a blast with it. It's definitely a hobby that it's a fun thing to relax with and kind of put your mind into something else.
Totally, man. Yeah, that's awesome. To answer your question though, I do play. I've taught guitar, bass, piano, and drums. And I did drumline all through school, and piano I'm like not the greatest at, but I'm proficient enough that I can find my way. I can futz my way around. So, and when I record my music, fun fact, when I record my music, I record all of the instruments except for drums.
Damn.
Yeah. So
putting in the work.
I could probably do the drums. I've thought about like maybe trying that on a song or something, but I've got my buddy Ryan Bannigan. He plays on my records, and he's just amazing. He's the kind of guy that, and we've been playing together for so long, where I can just be like, hey, try this, and I just sing a part to him, and he's just like, oh yeah, and he does it. And having a guy like that and a friend like that in the studio with me is it's just
No, I mean, it sounds like, you could play it, but like having him there is way better, and it's a more fun experience. I mean, that collaboration aspect too is so huge for the creative process.
It is nice. Yeah. Having someone who can also bounce ideas back at me and be like, no, what you just saying is stupid, or no.
Yeah. Sometimes you need it, because I wish I could tell clients that sometimes. But that's unfortunately not quite the collaborative. Like, no, that's a dumb idea. I mean, you're paying me, I guess, I'm sure, but
I know, dude. Hey, well, that's how it goes sometimes,
So are there any kind of themes or emotions that you like to explore in your songs? And if so, what are those themes that you like to dive into?
Well, you know what? That's a good question. It's about everything that I just go through in life. That's a lot of what I write about, and it's like personal experience, and it's all like inward emotion a lot of times. And so I write a lot about God. I write a lot about maybe some family things, or I write a lot about just friendships and the trials of all of those relationships and just like personal things that I go through. I sing about, the typical musician stuff, drugs and alcohol, and the emotions of going through things, man. And I think, there you go. That's the most pure answer I can give, I guess.
Yeah, I love it. And it's life experience. That makes sense.
Yeah, life experience, very spiritual stuff. I've been writing a lot more happier stuff lately. But a lot of times, I get inspired when I'm not feeling great. And so I've always been like the sad song guy, like the slow, emotional build up song. Like I've just always been so good at that thing. And
you and Taylor Swift, huh?
There you go. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I think I'm like kind of growing out of that a little bit. And, I have some poppier stuff and some more upbeat songs as well. It's just whenever I get inspired, and a lot of times it's just whenever I'm going through emotional things. And lately they've been pretty happy things though, which is great.
Yeah, well, and because you won the hometown for the holidays on 93.3, the radio station, but that was one of the more upbeat ones, right?
That was one of the more upbeat. Yep, totally. That was with the song called "The Runaround," and "The Runaround's" definitely like a more upbeat song, but it's still about a girl giving you the old runaround and feeling like crap about it. So,
it had its base. It had its base in the foundation.
Exactly. Yeah.
Tell me about that experience with 93.3 and that whole kind of how that came about and what it ended up as.
Oh, man, I was just so, I don't even know if I felt grateful to be a part of it. And, that's the easiest answer that I could say, but really, I went into that competition with the mindset of, I'm going to put out my first song. I'm going to win this thing. It's going to be a big bang of me being like, yo, Seth Beamer, the solo artist, is here. And I guess,
that happened.
It happened, and I'm just grateful. And sometimes life works out like that, and things line up. And that was one of those occasions where, the hard work paid off. And I'm just so grateful to be, able to be a part of that, and that 93.3 dug it, and that the people loved it. And now I get to be a part of the 93.3's Not So Silent Night show.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that mention your name.
Oh, did you? Nice.
Yeah. I think Nerf mentioned it.
Yep. So that'll be on December 11th this year. And it should be cool. Ella Red, Colony House, and Lovejoy are the bands who will be playing as well. So I'll be opening up for all of them at Mission Ballroom. That'll be cool.
Oh, yeah. So it sounds like it's brought you more opportunities.
With that show, for sure, and just like, it was a good way to be like, because it's tough, like going from being in a band and then to all of a sudden being a solo artist. People don't really see you as the solo artist or as the singer. It's like, okay, you've been behind a guitar for years, but like, can you sing? Can you really lead a band? And or maybe this is all in my head too, but it feels like there's a bit of just a barrier to break and something to prove. You have something to prove. And so being a part of this competition and winning was a great, like, just maybe a motivation builder for me, in a way to be like, no, I'm really into this. This is really who I am. I really am I really am a band leader and a singer, and this is what I want to do. And so it has created opportunity for me, just because I feel like, that it means something to win it. So that's awesome.
Yeah. No, I'm honestly, like, you won one of the biggest competitions from the biggest radio stations in Colorado. So, I mean, that's a big win.
Yeah, feels great, man. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course. I mean, it kind of feels like a proof of concept too, right? Like, you kind of had this idea that you were trying to go after, and it was kind of like the world said yes.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm actually about to head back into the studio and record some 3 more songs this next weekend. Actually, I hit the studio.
Great.
So I hope the universe says yes to those as well.
That's all you can try, right? That's exactly right. So for you, when you're making a new song like you're gonna do this weekend, what generally do lyrics come first, or is it built around a riff, or kind of is it kind of bounce around a little bit?
A song will come to me in different ways. It's always different. The songs that are going into the studio this weekend are pretty much they're like almost done, right? Like we're gonna produce a little bit. My producer and drummer and I will all kind of be in a room together, play through some songs and figure some things out, some transitional things or whatever. But for the most part, it's all coming together in like totally different ways. It's coming together with either usually a chorus first. But when I hear things, I've talked about this on other things as well. So, but it's funny. I don't know if everyone does this, but when I hear something, I usually hear it as the melody and the bass line all together. So I hear the bass movement, hear the chord progression, and I hear the melody on top of it. So it's always two parts at once that I hear. And then from there, we'll take it and then like either expand on it or I'll change maybe the bass part or whatever. But like it comes to me in a little package. And then, sometimes I'll like have a little package and it'll sit there in my notes forever. And then I'll come up with another package and then I'll be like, oh my gosh, that'll go great with this. And then they go together. Sometimes you even like write a whole song around this one and a whole song around this one. And then neither one of them like end up being the most amazing song. And then you end up picking and pulling from them and bringing it together. So it's just like, or sometimes you write that and then you go, oh, that's a great idea. And for the next 10 minutes, you sit down and you write the rest of it. And that's the song forever. I mean, that happens too. So it's just, have you heard of Rick Rubin? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Rick Rubin. Yeah.
What is it? The Creative Act?
I've just seen a bunch of interviews from him. He's a freaking producing god.
Yeah. So he's like in the Creative Act and in his podcasts and interviews and stuff, he's like always talking about how it's such a spiritual experience, like writing, how like there's all these ideas. There's these ideas that are just floating around and it's up to us to grab them. And if you don't grab it, then somebody else will grab it along the way. And that's why when you have an idea and you don't act on it, later you hear someone else do it and you're like, oh, I thought of that, or I thought of that product or that business, or I thought like, oh, I could have had that. And it's like, well, that's because it's yours taking and you just didn't take it. And so I think about that a lot when I'm writing.
I love that concept though. When you basically like, if you're in that space and something comes to you, like, if like, this will keep going if I don't use it. I love that. Just the idea of like, there's, a layer of just ideas above us that we get to just like grab occasionally.
Yeah. Do you feel like that's
a cool visual? Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. In like your filmmaking and stuff.
Yeah. I'll have, I mean, when I'm both on set and editing, it's just pretty much pure flow state. And that's when you're in that and working and open to it, it comes to you. Which is especially, I find it a lot in editing. I'll have actually, I've had consistently good or weird in a good way experiences with editing where I will have, I'll have like a gap in an edit that's maybe, 3 or 4 seconds long that I need to fill something with. And then like, because I've been through all the footage already, in my mind goes, oh, this clip. And then seriously, this happens almost once or twice in edit for me. That clip that I think to go there, it will literally fit down to the frame of the spot it needs to go in.
God.
Like I don't have to, I'm like, it happens so much, it's ridiculous. But I think those are like kind of these little moments of like, well, that was supposed to live there. Got it.
Yeah. It'll line itself.
Like I won't need to change anything on it. It's crazy.
Dang, that's cool. Well, and I feel like this, because I don't know if you know this, but I do a lot of video editing too. And
yeah, I mean, you got a big, is it TikTok's your main one? Yeah. Or is it all the platforms?
I do all of them. But my Instagram and TikToks are like the couple ones. But like, I was going to say this is true. And when I'm editing and also when I'm, writing songs is like, it'll tell you what it wants to be. Right. And so that's the same situation. It lined up perfect. It's like, oh, it's telling you, hey, this is what I want to be. Like, it's awesome.
And what's nice is to be able to do that consistently and on a professional level where, the light bulbs, if you're doing it enough and you're making stuff enough, it gets to be a habit. And that's where I think that's what careers are based off of, because so many people have to like really work to get those moments. But if you're literally practicing every single day, it's going to happen pretty consistently. So you get to actually like, you know, promise some of those results.
Yeah, you have to be aware of those opportunities, I guess. That's another thing.
Yeah.
So
No, that's absolutely right. Yeah. Pulling the idea down. Or like a lot of times the idea wise will happen on set where like I'll see on set, when I go film a business or whatever, where I'm trying, if I'm like, okay, I need to be in a creative space right now. What can, and literally I'll just see something, and in my catalog of movies brain, I'll be like, oh my God, we can totally do like a, Edgar Wright shot here, or like this can be kind of a Guy Ritchie like super quick I just kind of my inspirations live with me while I'm trying to make new stuff.
that's so cool, man. It's funny because you're bringing up a point about like, I feel like this is a lot of artists in different ways in filmmaking and music and in because when I'm doing film or when I'm filming things, I don't know any of these bigwig directors and stuff. I know some of them, but like,
Yeah.
I'm not thinking, oh, this guy's style. I don't think like that. And I really don't think like that in music either, like in a lot of ways. It's all just like a free for all for me. And I mean, for better or for worse, but it's just interesting that you bring that up because
Yeah.
I feel like I have conversations with people a lot of times where they have a similar kind of outlook of like, oh, it's kind of like this style or in the style of this or in the style of this.
Yeah.
It's like,
It feels like there's a visual language with so many directors. Like, a Tarantino movie, a Edgar Wright movie, they're very specific. And because of the visual language, what's nice is that for me, it's almost like there's like a backstop or like a safety net on stuff. Like if I know that I'm going for a specific style for this video, and I know how to create that specific style with the types of shots that I'm doing, like most likely the video is not going to suck.
Yeah, I feel that.
It's inspired by like the masters.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
And so it's kind of like a nice, like, I'll be okay because I know I was doing a video. I just got a new client, which is Cactus Jack's. It's a bar and restaurant in downtown Evergreen, and they're promoting their Halloween party. And I have the owner dressed up in this big cactus inflatable arm suit and like dancing around and stuff. And literally, I mean, he knows, but I'm like, I know this looks really dumb right now, but it's gonna work so well in the edit. He's literally sitting there just going like this, and like. I'm gonna speed ramp it, and then I'm gonna hit slow motion. You're gonna just because there's like a table of bikers sitting next to him while he's like dancing around in this thing. It was hilarious. But I was like, I know what I'm doing. I have it in my head. I just
like trust the process. Trust the process.
And he did. And listen, there was no notes on the edit, so killed it.
There you go, man. I feel like trust the process. I have that happen a lot in photos because I shoot photo for other artists as well, and I will always like have them do something movement wise. Like it's always about the movement for me. Like, let's get you moving and maybe like spin around and like run towards me, but spin around and like smile and act crazy.
Yeah.
And they feel like it's so weird. And then like, I just snap. You pick out a cool one and they go, oh, I get it. I get the process.
Yeah.
But you have to prove it to them,
My friend Peggy, who's a photographer, she lives in France now, but she has this, she has you write down like a message to the world on a little whiteboard. And then she has you move around and like do this whole thing and make different poses. And like her work for me is some of the clearest like capturing of a person's spirit I've ever seen. I have it on pretty much the one she took of me. Actually, this is perfect. Okay. When this posts to YouTube or any of the YouTube videos, the picture that is above our video is her shot.
Wow.
So I think my sign was create your life and come alive or something, like with the camera, like create what you want. But like that energy is how I feel about myself. And again, I've used it in like all of my branding as much as possible.
Man, that's awesome. That's a great idea.
No, you're absolutely right. Like moving around, when you get them moving, when you get them like, having fun and doing different things that maybe are slightly silly and uncomfortable, you're going to get the real person out of it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Which is great. I mean, it's such again, the process. Like that's why we have, the true pros have the process.
Yeah. I remember Scott McCormick, man. Scott McCormick, I don't know if you know his name. He's a great photographer in town, in Denver. And he's done a lot of artist work. And that's actually how we met, is because he was shooting my band, and he's just been a friend for years now. And he's taught me a lot about photography, and just even by proxy, just by knowing the guy, I learned so much from him. And but one thing that stuck with me that I take to my shoots now is zones. So he has like different zones in his like when with your hands, because people don't know what to do with their hands, right? So he's like, okay, zone 1 is like your head, and zone 2 is like your face and your neck.
Yeah,
like maybe messing around with like a collar. Zone 3, you're down here messing with your buttons, or so he's got all these zones, and I'll take that to my clients, and like at the beginning, okay, guys, here's your zones. If I say pick a zone, or if I say zone 2, or I say zone 4, or whatever, then that's where you put your hands. And it just like, it helps the process so much. I love just those little tricks,
That's huge. That's a great tip. All the photographers listening, do that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's part of why I love this show, is like it's advice for beginners on the small things that are so kind of hard. It's like hard to teach, but then when you're just explaining it in conversation, it makes sense.
Oh, totally, man. Yeah. Well, and those things too, I don't know where Scott got that, but maybe he just got it out of just trying something out on his own.
Yeah.
I don't know. Where he got
one of those ideas that he grabbed and then is now in the ether.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What's one of your songs that kind of holds some special significance to you, and maybe what's the story behind it?
Oh man. Man, I've got all of my songs have a little bit of a significance.
Yeah.
At least most. But I'll say, so I have this song, and it's called The Silence. And The Silence, I've had this song written for years. And it's about my relationship with my dad. And it's unreleased. But if you come to a show, you'll hear it every time. I sing it every time. And it's just about our lack of relationship, and about I don't know, I guess just the frustration in that, and the frustration in who he is, and what life has to be like because of that. And I think it doesn't like give away too much, and that's what I love about music and lyric writing, is you don't have to give away so much of your core. You don't have to be, you can be vulnerable without being vulnerable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And but anyways, that's a song that means a lot to me. And it's funny, my producers are like, dude, we got to do that song. And I'm like, I just don't know if it's the right time. And I think it'll come out here probably in the next year, if I had to take a wild guess, because it's been in a hole in my. But if you come to a show, you'll get to hear it. And I usually actually play that back to back with another song that means a lot to me too. And this other song, I've been sober for a year and a half, or a little over a year and a half now. And this other song, I wrote half of it before I got sober, and the other half afterwards. And so, and I didn't realize I was going to get sober at the time. I had no idea, and I just happened to write the first, that like literally the week before the big tipping point, and then the other half just came to me right after that, just miraculously. And so I always love playing that. They kind of like mold into each other, those two songs, for whatever reason. And anyways, those two songs, mean a lot to me.
Hey friends, it's your podcast buddy Noah Midman here, and I want to talk to you a little bit today about one of my passion projects, my clothing brand, Clothing for Creators. Roll the tape.
If my life were a movie, the hero's big speech would end with, "Stop waiting, start creating." Because that's the drive behind my story. Like when I couldn't afford to finish film school, So instead, I started my own production company and gave myself a trial by fire YouTube business degree. And it's not just me with these kinds of stories. There is this growing movement of passionate, creative, flow state writing, hustling, persistent creators and entrepreneurs that are taking the internet and the world by storm.
Everybody told me I wasn't going to be able to make any money as an artist. Now, 15 years later, I've worked on 3 continents. I do own my house, my shop, I'm booked out 8 months ahead. I don't subscribe to being a starving artist.
Creativity and I are very deep, dark lovers. I've just decided I'm just going to make stuff. And even if it's not perfect, like, it's getting made.
You're going to think that there's right answers and there's not. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Let's just throw dye on it and it'll look great.
You don't need rules some old guy in a suit made up. You don't need anyone telling you that your voice doesn't matter. We are makers, creative types, side hustlers, doers. Why? Because we get shit done.
The most important thing every single day is just to get your shit done.
Just keep doing it, keep producing, keep creating, and as you do that, you're going to start becoming the person that you want to be.
Don't be scared to try. Commit. You can't half-ass do something. We're full-ass around here.
So there's a film you need to make, a company you need to create, a voice you need to share, a product you know the world needs. Put all of yourself into it until anyone who has ever doubted you starts asking you for a job. Then you get to play for a living. You get to create community.
Partnerships, collaborations, building bonds with people that like the same stuff you like.
You get to live with your heart on your sleeve, a smile on your face, and a solid answer to when anybody asks, why do you do what you do?
Sometimes you have to say fuck all the rules to get something that you really need to get out of yourself.
You don't need the opinion of the old guy in the suit.
You have to give yourself permission to just go. A little less conversation, a little more action.
Clothing for creators. Go check out snowmanfilms.shop today.
Hey there, fellow creatives. Conversations with Creators dives deep into the minds of successful filmmakers, artists, musicians, and all-around awesome people. We are looking for some kick-ass sponsors to help us keep this show on the road. If you want to reach a tribe of dedicated listeners who are just as passionate about creating as you are, then look no further. Our audience is full of people who appreciate a good laugh and are always on the lookout for new ways to fuel their creativity. So, let's team up and create some magic together. We'll work with you to make sure that your brand is showcased in the best light possible. And who knows, maybe we'll even become lifelong friends. Just imagine, years from now, we'll be reminiscing about the good old days when we first teamed up to take the world by storm. Send us an email at noah@snowmanfilms.net to say hey and get the ball rolling. Now back to the episode.
Yeah, that's super. I mean, again, it's, as you said, kind of being vulnerable without being like, the deeper meanings on stuff that you get to experience on stage, and they get to enjoy a good song that, has, obviously has some sort of heart behind it because, you came from a place of emotion, but you get to kind of, that's interesting. What's your psychology behind putting together a live show, like with the flow, with emotions? How do you kind of go about that?
I'm not like a scientist about it, if I'm being honest. For putting together the live show, I've been in bands where they are the scientist about it. And
yeah.
Guys, we're just playing songs like but I will say, like, just overall, I like to have, like, we got to start high, and then we're going to dip down a little bit, and then we're going to end high, right? So that's generally what I like to do. Obviously, I want to try and keep interest throughout, so there is a method to it, but overall, that's really what I'm doing is I'm, like, just hitting you hard, and then we're going to come down, and then at the end, right now, I've been ending every set with a sing-along, which I think is a fun way.
Nice.
So
yeah, totally.
Usually by the end of the set, everyone's a little juiced up and like feeling good, and they're like ready to.
I feel like you have to. I feel like you gotta send them out the door like on a high, like on. Oh, that was so. Especially, I mean, the sing-along is great because that's they're participating. They just made it. They're part of it, and then they take that out of the world. That's a really cool like mentality trick.
Totally, man. Yeah. It's fun. So
yeah, absolutely.
No, I'm not a huge scientist about how I put together sets. I think. Usually it's more, does the key go to the next song, or does this end of the song go to the start of another song? Like, how does that sound too? That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Some songs just don't.
That's a scientist a little bit. That's flow of the show.
I guess. Yeah. It's more like music theory science behind it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that makes sense because that's kind of where you kind of came from.
Yep. Exactly. Yep. Yeah.
So I talked about some of my inspirations for filmmaking. What are some of your influences and heroes in music? With when you think of your Mount Rushmore or whatever.
Well, I've got two bands growing up who will just always live forever with me, and that's My Chemical Romance and Blink-182.
There you go.
And I know that's just so like suburban white boy, but that's what I loved, and that's.
I'm also a suburban white boy, and those also are definitely a big part of my childhood.
Yeah, man. Yeah, they were huge. And then I would say like lately who I've been loving is they're not huge. They're like a newly national band called Little Image.
Okay.
And they're awesome. They've been killing it. Who else? Oh man. I just got to do this. I got a computer right here. I'm just gonna.
I was gonna say because I love the My Chemical Romance answer because that is I think literally the only band that you can tell a song off of one note.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
It's like it's like anybody who grew up in our time. How old are you?
It's like Black Parade. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm 32. And so I got the
34. I got the black. They're right there.
I got the Black Parade for Christmas when I was 15. I remember I got that album and
nice.
And I listened to it. I was staying with a buddy at the time. It's just where we were at in life, and I was in his room Christmas night and listening on my headphones, just like laying and listening to that album. And oh my gosh, it was amazing.
I wish I remember the first time I heard it because it's just there's some of those songs like another God damn it, hold up, no, I can't remember it. But another like opening to a song that's just so iconic, that just sticks out. Like that was actually interesting with your process because of those iconic kind of openings. Is that kind of a big thing that you think about? Is how it opens up?
Yeah. Well, it's just however it needs to happen. I don't know if sometimes it's just we're starting, and sometimes there is like I do have one song out. It's called Perfectly Impossible, and Perfectly Impossible starts out with like blah 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 blah, like just whacking that snare and just yelling like yours not mine, and that really came to me as that piece, and I was like, this is how we have to start this song. Then that was it from the get. So I guess that does happen, but other times it's just like, songs just, it is what it is.
Yeah, it happens. Because I know like, some of when you get to like the high level like pop producer stuff where they're like, there's a science on the intro has to go for about 10 seconds so that the DJ on the radio can kind of introduce it, and then go, so it'll like do better if there's some sort of like weight on it.
Well, and I think that kind of stuff is dying down a little bit.
Yeah, that's good.
Radio's kind of it's not what it used to be, and I don't think they're setting all the rules that they used to. But you do need to capture someone's attention if you're on a playlist or whatever on Spotify, you need to catch them like that. And so I do think about that. I don't think about it to the point like to a fault where it's like it needs to be like, but I certainly want to grab people's ear. But I think that's we could talk even more broader as a songwriter now. Like I just do that in general throughout the song. I mean, I will not even just with my songs, but I'll hear other people's songs and I'll be like, oh my gosh, why haven't we changed yet? Like, why haven't we gone somewhere new? I'm always like, let's go somewhere new. Let's keep it interesting. You have to guide the listener, man. And I just feel so strongly about movement. And, there's a time and place to like chill in a mood or chill in a space. But I think for the most part, maybe that's just how my brain works is I don't have the patience. I want more. I need the stimulation. I need the movement. I need to be taken on a journey. And so,
I do have, I'm surprised how much of a journey I can take somebody on in a, 30 second to 1 minute video, but a song should be the same way where, it's a short amount of time, but when you can take somebody through a story or through emotions, think about it. Like you can, with a good song in the right emotional place, you can probably get somebody crying in about 15 to 20 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like if you're in the right spot and that right lyric hits you, and it just like that's pretty amazing that you can, you know, take somebody to that level really fast.
Absolutely. Yeah. Cool.
Speaking of which, how do you kind of connect with your audience on the deep level? Either actually, what's the difference for you with doing that live versus doing that in, you know, they're gonna, you know, with streaming or listening it, not seeing you?
Man, that's a good question, because the way that I'm playing songs right now is like just kind of top down. I have a few sections in a song where we'll go, hey, let's like harp on this for a second, or I'll like call out a part or call out a change. But you know, the goal is that it can go one of two ways. Either I can play songs live and I can get a reaction out of the audience, and it'll tell me how I need to either change that song in the recording or go about later. Or sometimes something will hit me and I'll, you know, like for instance, I'm about to go record a song this weekend that no one has ever heard. And I guess I hope, I don't really know. You never know these things. You don't know if it's going to land, but I hope that I can command the emotion from my side first. So I think that happens both ways. And it's not like, I don't know if I approach it one way or the other based on any certain reason. It's just because it's just how it all laid out for me, because I just chose to play this song for an audience, or I just chose to keep it to myself. And I don't think it's not like a conscious decision. It's just like something that just worked out that way. And so, you know, I don't have any real data to give you about like which one works better. Or
but the interesting thing that just came to me on that is it's kind of like when you work out a song in front of an audience before you put it in the studio, it's almost like a stand-up comedian working out jokes. So it's, you know, you're getting the reaction, and maybe you feel like the hint of something that you want to even go further on, so that you know, it kind of evolves through the performance of it to become its final form, to get, you know, to really be the most effective.
Yeah. You definitely get a feel for it when you play it for an audience first. It's a very good indicator of if your song is good or not.
Yeah, right. The level of applause and the level of emotion definitely is a good telling sign of if it's working or not.
So, you know, if you're trying to play a sing along and nobody's singing along, you're like, oh, man. But sometimes that's just the nature of the group you're playing for too. So it's just, man, it's such a, I don't know if a game is the word I want to use.
Yeah.
But it is like, it's an interesting process of knowing your audience and knowing like the different room you're in and how to control that room, and how to maybe not control, but control.
No, you're in control of it. Yeah, because you're, you know, they have paid money to come out and have an experience, and you're providing the experience. So like you're, you know, it's kind of, I mean, you're directing the room, you're controlling the energy. That's totally, and that's what people hope for, right? That's like, oh, they need to like know what they're doing and want to have fun with me, and you know, say you're dictating how they're feeling. So yeah, you're leading it. That's great. Which is also, you know, it's leading the band, leading the room.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, which is a whole practice in itself. You know, the song is a practice, and then performing is a practice. So yeah.
And you just do it and you do it by practicing. That's all you can do. You practice by doing, which is brutal.
Yeah, it's a long process, but you know, I do it because I wouldn't want to be doing anything else. It's a fun.
Oh yeah, 100%. Where do you kind of see future stuff? Like what are you excited about for the future for projects you're on right now?
Man, I'm you know, lately I've been playing with a lot of other people as a guitar player, you know, and I have this solo project that's been had some success, and then I've still been like nurturing it, but just in little bits. And now I'm kind of at a place where I'm starting to maybe put some of these other side gigs to the side and really focus on Seth Beamer and focus on this career. And so I'm excited to not only get these next 3 songs out, I'm putting out everything out as an EP next year. I hope to tour on that and just keep playing more shows. And, really the goal for me is just to put out music that people love and that people want to have on their phones and play in their car on their way to work. And I think that's like ultimately, I would love to be on the big stages and everything, but more than anything, I just want people to love my music. And
well, that's what leads to the stages.
yeah, for I just want it to mean something to people, and for it to be like, oh yeah, no, that was a song that changed your life, or maybe I said too, like, there's like My Chemical Romance, like when I was 15, that's all I wanted to do. I thought that band was so cool, and I just like, even their music like just was such a big part of my life and a big part of like my growing up and my emotions, and like I would just dive into those records, and like I would love to be that for a 15-year-old.
Yeah, a transformative thing. Have you actually, speaking of kind of that level of connection, have you ever had anybody tattoo lyrics on them?
No. Oh, that's good. No,
all right.
That'd be good. I have a song I wrote. I've had a lady stop and tell me that she loved the song so much that she was going through a divorce, and she heard the song on the radio, and so she had to pull over the car, and she started weeping, and that song fit so
cool.
Got her.
You're like, I'm so happy I made you cry. But no, like totally. But again, you want a reaction out of people. You want to connect. I mean, that is I've never been like that caught up with it, but that's goals right there.
Well, that's what it's all about. That's the whole point of music. Like, we're not making music just to like be cool. I mean, it is cool, but like we're making music for that connection, and it's help. It's an offering. It's a gift. It's like for people. So I think that's super cool that I could do that for her at that time. And that's what it's all about to me, man.
No, it's awesome. So you're very good with the social media stuff. What kind of advice do you have for somebody who's wanting to get into some music and put their stuff out and, get some attention with it?
Thanks, man. I think, I know the answer. And it's a little blunt, but I'm not going to give the blunt answer. What I'm going to say,
I'm okay with the blunt answer.
I think
some people need to hear a blunt answer.
Is you need to be helpful. You need to be helpful to people, because people don't care about your music just because you have great music anymore. It's unless it's great music. Some music maybe, sure, but I think there's another element to it now. We're just so constantly there's other things going on, or I don't know, that's a weird way to say it. We're constantly stimulated that you need to have more to your content than just good music. And so being helpful, like giving lessons, is how I did it. Or you can also be entertaining, like that could be helpful, or like showing tips, or there needs to be another element to what you're doing. And I think, it's easy for us as artists to be like, oh, I hate social media. I hate that I have to do this, and yada, yada, yada. And it's like, okay, it is one more thing that we have to add to our list, right? But I like to look at it as like, this is a way that I get to be an artist also. Like I get to be a musical artist, and I get to make art through whatever content I make. Like, that's another way to express myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I think just finding fun ways to keep that interesting and exciting, that'll like go a long way. And that comes across with your audience too. Like, people take notice when you're having fun with what you're making. So
correct. Yeah, no, that's a great answer. I agree.
Be helpful and have fun.
It's I like to call it edutainment.
Edutainment. That is a good one. Yep, it's exactly that. Yep.
If you're providing value and you're entertaining and you're having fun making it yourself, you're probably on the right track.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
So
outside of your career and all this stuff, what's a hobby that lets you relax and kind of get away from it?
Oh man. Well, I don't know if you know this. Well, I've talked a little bit about this, but I own a video production company as well, and I just I've been doing that for years, and
nice.
Just started the company this year actually. So I've been working with other artists and just like other people in the scene for years now. And then this year I was like, I'm going to make a company, and I'm just like working with tons of people these days. And that's actually where like I'm almost split half and half right now of my time of music and with video and photo production.
Awesome.
And so, I know you said hobby, but if I said a hobby, that's pretty much my other hobby, man. Like I spend so much time just
This is
making
my
stuff.
hobby, honestly.
Yeah, great.
The
Yeah.
podcast is
Well,
fun.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just making content for other people now, not just me, but making it for other people. That's like a little bit of a hobby, and yeah, I just love being creative, like in all kinds of ways.
Yeah.
Otherwise, spending time with my gal is a great hobby, and getting to go camping. We just went camping this last weekend. It was a super fun time. So
We've been trying to go camping, and we just keep getting plans keep getting not in the way, but we keep making plans, and it's with people, and we will eventually. I don't know. The weather's getting there.
we made it just in time for like the last little bit of leaf peeping, I feel. So
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
we're the winter park season passes just showed up, so we have our winter locked in, which will be great. We're gonna teach the kids to snowboard, or I should say, we're gonna take them to winter park so that instructors can teach them to snowboard. Because I tried to teach my wife, and it took her a full year to learn.
That takes
I'm terrible. I'm terrible at teaching.
Yeah.
Because if you had a good teacher, you can learn in like 3 or 4 days. But I don't know. So, turn left, point your finger. And she's like, that's not helping. I'm like, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Like edges. Use your edges.
Edges.
Yeah.
And then of course she's never passed. She's like, let's go in the trees. I'm like, I've never been in these trees. So now she like unlocked the trees for me, and she's not scared of anything. So it's been a blast.
Man, yeah, I went up a couple times last year, but I don't get to go up as much as I used to. But I grew up in Colorado. Did you grow up in Colorado?
I grew up in California, so in Northern California, though. So we did go to Sugar Bowl a fair amount. That's where I learned to snowboard, actually, up in the Sierra Nevada.
Yep, nice. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. So, but no, that's part of. I think if you live in Colorado and you're not taking advantage of camping or the mountains, whatever outdoor lifestyle stuff, then the cost of living here is just not worth it.
Totally. Yeah.
You gotta take advantage of the state.
You do. Yeah. I grew up going to Copper Winter Park, so those were my.
Nice. Yes, you're a local. That's a rare local here from all of our transplants. I got here in 2007. I've been here for a long time, so I claim that.
Dude, you've been here forever, and just because I know you've been here forever, because we worked together years ago, and I have to bring this up because this is the last time I think we really talked was when we worked together on. You hired me to do sound design for some kind of Nerf commercial. Nerf
was it?
Yeah, it was
shit.
Yeah. They're fine. Guns in the gym, and it's like,
and the sound design was fantastic.
Yeah, and
we shot it. It was I was playing around. I was using my buddy Tom's red camera, and if I'd seen him use it, but I was like, I want to shoot some on red, and then of course, because it's me, I want to do action. And that was a wild. That's still on YouTube, actually. Well, I will link that in the show notes because it exists, and because you were doing all the explosions and stuff. That was wild. I cannot believe I forgot about that.
Dude, yeah, that was super fun. That was like one of my first. I had a couple of other like smaller things under my belt. Not that was any huge project either. It was like big. To me, it was like a big project at the time. I was like, oh man, and I had so much fun working on it, and that's cool. You'll have to link it, and I'll have to go look it up because I haven't seen it in a while.
What was great on that one? It was actually a really good learning experience for me because that was when I was so obsessed with slow motion that I would just do everything. And what I learned because of the response on the video was not to put the entire video in slow motion when the music is fast. The pacing is just completely weird.
Interesting. Oh man, now I'm really interested to see it.
I know. But you did. I remember how you came out. I was like, oh my god, this sounds so good. Like it was, yeah. And the effects work, I put like explosions and shit in. It was
Yep. It was like basically if they were real guns, but they're all just like Nerf guns.
Nerf.
So fun. Yeah.
I love it, dude. I'm gonna watch that after this. That's a great. That was a long time ago.
You need any more sound design? You call me.
Oh yeah, I got you. Actually, it's funny too. One of my speaking of inspiration, I love. I'm obsessed with the Top Gear, the British TV show. Their segment sound design is some of the most unique stuff I've ever heard. And literally, I have gone through. You can see it in. I made a video which I'll link again. It's for a leak detection company, and I literally made this I made an action video out of this guy going down a well and fixing a underground water leak. But you'll see the beginning of it. There's like a ton of crazy, I was like, I want to try and do some crazy shit with this. He's like, yeah, go for it. And so I used some of the Top Gear sound design in that with doing like a pull focus on trees. I did lists of kind of crazy stuff that goes along. But I have a library of Top Gear sound design, and I actually have more in my downloads that I was planning on getting to today to kind of extract these. So those are they're just random stuff that's built out, but they're so good. And if you use them in the right places, it's like so unique.
That's cool. Well, and it's nice that you don't have to go like searching either. I mean, it's still searching because it's still a library, but like you already know it's all going to sound good.
It's all, everything in there is solid. And it's just like, what do I need something to sound like sand? Do I need something to sound like, and that's something I've been interested in getting more into is sound design, because it really creates a world past the visuals, especially if there's not much narration or stuff. If you have to I don't know. I'll send you two. I just redid my action reel and added sound design into it.
Dude, I'd love to see it. Let's see it.
Yeah. So it's a really cool. It makes total sense from you too, coming from the music background. Like your brain works in the audio, so building the world of sound makes it's a blast.
Man, I remember I did that project though on a cracked version of Ableton Live.
Listen, we all had a cracked version of something back in the day. I think I had a cracked version of Premiere before. I had a cracked version of Final Cut because I think the full thing was like $5,000 fucking dollars. It was ridiculous.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was cracked on. I definitely had a cracked After Effects. And then finally Adobe came out with the subscription. I was like, hey, we can afford it now. I can get the real things. This is amazing. And now I'm on DaVinci, which is free.
Oh, are you? Interesting.
I love DaVinci. You know what? It doesn't crash.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
For some reason, my Premiere will not stop crashing. Even with updates.
Well, I've always been, I've gone back and forth for years, but I landed on Final Cut some years ago now. So I've been in Final Cut for a bit.
We all learned.
Everyone's been switching to DaVinci, and so I started dabbling all over on there. And I'm like, I haven't edited yet, but we'll see.
I literally had it downloaded for a while, and because I had, you have your workflow and you don't want to lose time. And I think I had a personal project that I was like, okay, I'm just going to learn on this one. I'm not getting paid on it. I'm not, counting my hours. And there's some small things that just make so much sense that it has in a workflow that nothing else has. It's like, this is a really usually I have to be annoyed with some parts of the editing process just because that's how it is. But it fixed some of those. And I was like, this is the smoothest. And again, my thing is that was at the point where I was doing a client project on Premiere for call it a 2 to 3 minute car show video. Literally, it crashed 15 times.
Oh my gosh!
And I was like, this is just I can't. This is insane.
Yeah,
I needed something different.
Yeah, you're losing money at that point because you're.
Oh yeah, 100%. I was, 2 hours into just dealing with the crashes, and I've probably been using DaVinci for about a year now, and it's maybe crashed twice that entire time.
Dang. Okay.
It
All
doesn't
right.
crash.
You might, I'm gonna edit
telling
something on it. You get ready.
to try it out.
Yeah.
Try it out. And it's free. It's free.
I know. Great.
I'll upgrade eventually to the paid version, but I'm a big fan. The one thing is for podcasts is the Autopod, which is a game changer. That automatically, if you do a multicam shoot on a podcast, it'll edit for you. It only works on Premiere, so I'm back to Premiere for that. But once it comes out for DaVinci, I'm jumping on that as soon as possible.
Dude, that's awesome. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that. So yeah.
Do it up. So last thing, let me kind of roll out the red carpet for you. Tell the people what you got going on in your life.
Man, next steps, next things coming out. I mean, the most immediate stuff I have is October 21st. When is this coming out? Is this coming out soon?
Not sure. hopefully in October. Yeah.
Okay.
I will do my best. Maybe give some November dates too.
Sure, yeah. Well, so we got October 21st. I'm playing in Westminster for Westy Fest.
Nice.
October 22nd, I'll be in the Colorado Springs if anybody's down there, playing for a KK Fearless event at Acacia Park. And then November 4th, I haven't announced it on socials yet, but I'm going to do that today. So, yep, you heard it here first, Noah, that Globe Hall on November 4th.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then Mission Ballroom on December 11th for Not So Silent Night. So
yeah, this will definitely be out before then. So definitely Not So Silent Night. Go give Seth some love and yell at him that you saw him on the podcast. And yeah, man, I appreciate it. This has been you interviewed me a bit, which was awesome.
Oh, well, it was good to hang and good to catch up. And
absolutely, man.
Yeah, this was fun. So thanks again, Noah.
I'm gonna go watch that Nerf video right now and have some good reminiscing.
Nice. All right. Yeah, send it to me. I'm gonna check.
Where can people find you online?
SethBeamer.com, or I'm at Seth Beamer Music on all social media. So just look up Seth Beamer Music or SethBeamer.com. Yep.
Give him a follow, give him a stream, and thanks, buddy.
Cool. Thanks again, man. Yeah, we'll talk.
All right. So for everybody listening and watching, I will see you next time.